This is Secret America.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger along with Jay Gatling, and we have a lot of craziness to get to today, Jay. If you've noticed our thumbnail, it says criminals weaponize robots. And the reason that is our thumbnail is because apparently now, not only are criminals actually going to be able to buy these humanoid robots, because they're not just going to be for sale, for the military. They're also going to be for sale for anybody that wants them, anybody that has the money to be able to purchase a humanoid robot. And if you can program it to do whatever you want, why can't you program it to rob a bank? Why can't you program it to, go rob this person's house, go kill this person? They're going to be the next assassin robots, Jay. It's very easy. If they can already hold guns and fire rifles, you're telling me that's not the logical next step for a criminal enterprise? It very well is, Jay.
They got to make sure these robots can't be programmed to do so. That's the bottom line.
You always can, though. When there's computers involved, if you have a skilled coder, you can always do that shit.
Well, then what it is, Jack? What's going to happen is obviously there's going to be a bunch of new laws that are also implemented there's going to have to be. So you're going to have laws where if you program a robot to do something criminal, you will be the one responsible. You will serve that criminal penalty or maybe higher. Actually, because you can't throw the robot in jail, right? Not gonna be able to charge the robot. The robot is programmed. These robots, Jack, I don't think they're really going to be that unaffordable. I think Elon Musk is saying they're looking at $30,000 to $40,000.
That's pretty unaffordable for most people.
Not really. Not for. I mean, I don't think you have to pay
30 or 40 grand to spend on a robot.
Well, listen, if say you already have your house, you already have your couple of cars, and you want to throw another loan down on a robot. I guess you could 30, 40 grand, throw 10 grand
I'm a criminal, down. Yeah. Because if I'm a criminal and I'm a hitman or something, all I do is I go buy a robot. Say I'm a hitman, right? And I take a contract for $100,000 to go kill somebody, right? Okay, I purchase a $40,000 robot, and what I do is I make sure that it can kill this person and then self-destruct. Okay, kill that person, self-destruct, or I strap a bomb to the robot. Forget a gun. I just strap a bomb to the robot. The robot walks next to this person. I press the button. Boom. The robot's gone. There's no sending anybody to jail. You're not going to know who the fuck did it. And that person's dead.
That's interesting. You say like strap a suicide vest to a robot, right? Mm-hmm. That you wouldn't even have to program. You just program it to walk. You don't have to program to actually say, oh, go pull the trigger of a firearm or go take a knife and stab someone.
See, that's our future. Muslims are not even going to have to strap bombs to themselves anymore. Now you just strap it to a robot.
Well, we need bomb detecting robot dogs. Well, that's coming too.
If you do that, there's no need to detect it because it's going to be suicide. It's going to happen immediately. Yeah. Well, but how are you going to find out who did it is the thing.
Serial numbers on the robot. There'll be serial numbers all over those robots, just like there's serial numbers all over your car. That's one way I'm thinking where you could identify, God forbid, a robot gets blown to bits.
Well, yeah, but it's just like a car. They file off the serial number. They erase any kind of metadata. It can always be done that way. The bottom line is I'm saying that these robots, while they bring in, good things for humans, there's always a bad side to everything. And while right now they've got robots that can go fight on the front lines in Ukraine, those same robots can be used by the mafia. Those same robots can be used by criminal enterprises. What if the robots, forget this. If I'm a drug dealer, you know what I do? I get a robot to take all of my cocaine to a car that drives itself to the next point, and a robot picks up all the cocaine for me. I never touch the cocaine. All I have is robots and cars taking the shit for me.
There's going to have to be a lot of things figured out. A lot of things figured out. Well, a lot of unattended things that we're not even thinking of at this point right now. So hopefully there's some people that are a lot smarter than me working on this and thinking like you're thinking and we're thinking right now, talking, having this conversation, thinking ahead as to all the possibilities that, can come into play now once we go into this world of that's coming of humanoid robots walking around amongst us. Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, once it gets to the point where they are available for purchase and they are affordable for even a criminal enterprise, there's going to have to be laws. There's going to have to be hearings. There's going to have to be all kinds of things to set forth like, okay, This robot right here, if you sell this, it's got to have some kind of special location thing where even it can even withstand the impact of a bomb. Okay, it's going to have to be something like that.
Yeah, listen, a lot of things. A lot of things that we're, like I said, we're not even thinking of right now. We just thought of a bunch just in this conversation 5 minutes, and we're not even scratching the surface of what has to be put in place. Safeguards, laws, regulations, a ton of stuff is, and I hope, like I said, it is being worked on and looked at right now, because I don't want the progress of making the robots become reality to far outpace the safeguards, the laws, and the regulations that I have to put in place for when they're ready to roll. So I hope
That's
so.
the problem. What if you're a cartel? See, and I'm just coming up with ideas here for these robots. What if you're a cartel that brings in hundreds of millions of dollars a year? Forget an army. You buy an army of robots. You buy an army of robots. That is your cartel from now on. Now anybody can have a cartel. If you are rich, you don't have to recruit people. You just buy robots that can fire rifles, fire pistols, that can drive cars, that can do the cocaine trades for you, can do everything for you. You could have your own cartel now. I'm just saying that while the robots sound like a good idea, it sure as hell seems like they can be used for a hell of a lot worse than they would be for good.
I ought to be honest with you. I don't love the whole idea of these robots to begin with. I'm not a fan. I'm just not. I'm okay with AI. AI is what it is.
I think
AI
that's about
is,
as far as it should go, is AI.
yeah, I'm not a fan of these robots, and I've said a billion times, and I said it last night. I get creeped out to hell by these robotic dogs running around that I see, that they're using in the military and they're using in some law enforcement across the. I don't want to even see that stuff. I'm watching that Chinese video with these robots breakdancing and like spinning around, and I'm like, it's bizarre to me. I guess it is because it's new. Down the line, Jack, a couple of generations after us, I guess it's just going to be normal. It's kind of like seeing a car for us. When seeing a car for people who were born way before us, like, oh my God, look at that. For us, it was like, what? It's a car. So it's going to kind of be like that. But I hope that,
I mean, it's possible.
I hope smart people are really on top of it and trying to figure out how to keep this under control when it rolls out.
Well, what made me think of all this, Jay, what made me think of criminals weaponizing robots and all that, is that a robot was recently arrested. And yes, I said that correctly, arrested in China for assaulting an elderly woman. It was a humanoid robot that apparently assaulted this elderly woman, and she ended up having to go to the hospital. Now, I don't think he physically assaulted her. I think what happened was he kind of came up behind her and startled her. You know what I mean? And then she, she fell and she ended up having to go to the hospital, and seeing that they quote unquote arrested the robot. Obviously, they didn't handcuff the motherfucker, put him in the back of the car. But I'm saying, it was basically an arrest. The officer put his hand on the robot, guided it to wherever the hell they were going. So, I mean, it's the same thing as what you would consider an arrest for us. So that's what made me think about that, because the headline says robot arrested after elderly woman sent to hospital. So when you see that, though, Jay, you can easily think that, if that's something that simple can cause problems. Imagine when let's say, forget the robots that you buy. What if criminal enterprises start manufacturing their own black market robots? I'm saying there is so much, Jay.
No, there's so much. Remember that last night when that robot went after, like, threw his hand up like he was going to punch that guy?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, no, that should not even be like a thought in a microchip in that robot's brain. I mean, Come on. Robots should not be allowed to attack people. They should not be allowed to commit crimes. They shouldn't be allowed to do any of this stuff. But like you said, somebody's going to find a way to corrupt. If something comes out, criminals find a way to corrupt
anything.
Right. They corrupt anything. Right. The criminal's always like one step ahead, thinking like, oh, how can I use this to my advantage? Or a criminal enterprise thinking, how can I use this to my advantage? And and they always seem to be thinking of things that we just haven't thought of, maybe because we're normal and we don't have minds that operate like that. But sick people think of crazy ideas of how to, utilize things like this that is their advantage. I am not a fan of this whole humanoid robot thing, but who am I? I can't stop it. You can't stop it. It's coming. So these are things and conversations like we're having that have to happen, and they have to happen at high levels. I hope they are. I would
Yeah,
assume they are, but you know what they say about assumption.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's no telling. But what I can say is that anything can be corrupted, and it's very easy to, once they find out the technology, any black market would be able to program a robot to be able to kill. That would be its main job, is to kill. That would be its main job, is to do the suicide bombing. You can make black market anything. It stands to reason that you can make black market robots, and it will happen. And then what are we going to do when all of a sudden there's all these robots that are killing people programmed by other people? You can kill people while you're asleep.
Do you think it's got to happen first before somebody actually takes it seriously?
What's going to have to happen is, no, don't get me wrong. They'll put in a few safeguards, but to get the major things, people are going to have to die first. Yes.
It always kind of seems like that, doesn't it? I mean,
it is what it is. It does not. We are a reactionary, not a proactionary.
And you know what this other scary thing about this, and I just thought of, somehow, in some way, they're gonna infringe on our rights in somehow, some way when it comes to protecting us from robots. Think about that.
Oh yeah.
Just like after 9/11, when, oh my God, we have to do different things. The Patriot Act, what did it end up doing? Somehow it ended up making our lives worse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I kind of have the fear that the same thing's going to happen when these robots come out and they're like, oh, we got to do something about these robots. We have to make sure that they're safe. We have to make sure that they don't do this, they don't do that. And somehow it's going to screw us.
What about, we're thinking of this side. What about the government side, the false flag operations they can do with robots to force you to lose some of your safety, some of your freedoms? Can robots go on an airplane? What happens if you get a robot on an airplane that has a bomb inside its body? It's not even on the outside. You can't even tell. I'm telling you, Jay, these robots are going to cause way more problems than any good that they're going to do. I can promise you that much.
Well, I'm going to say this. No robots on airplanes for, how about the next 80 years, please? No robots on airplanes.
No say in that.
Oh, please. And it's like you said, it's going to somehow, they're going to use it. Oh, yes. They're going to use it to somehow make our lives worse, to somehow make it where we're more under control. That's what I fear.
That's the whole point of the false flag. And that's why they would use these robots to institute more false flags. Because if they can use them to institute more false flags, you know what happens? You get your freedom taken away, but for safety, you trade your freedom for safety. But guess what, Jay? You're not actually any safer. You just have less freedom.
Right. Well, taking away, it's all the time. That's the modus operandi, especially of one side of our government, is to disarm you for quote unquote your safety, when all that's doing is making me less safe. So exactly.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the Save America Act. Apparently, Jay, it has advanced the procedural vote. A shocking two-turn of events. One, Mitch McConnell voted yes to advance it on the procedural vote. I do not think he will vote yes on the floor. And two, John Fetterman voted no on the procedural vote. Now, that was a little shocking to me. Both sides were, I happen to think on the floor vote, those sides will flip-flop.
You think Fetterman? All right, hold on. Before we get to Fetterman, here's the thing with the SAVE Act, and I've been very, very on the SAVE Act, as you know.
You never talk about it.
What's that?
I said you never talk about it.
No, never. I mean, I only put out.
It's only one of your every 2 posts you make.
2 posts or videos. I put out probably 30 videos on it because I think it's that important. I think it's that much of a landmark piece of legislation. And as I said, 85% of Americans, whether they're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Martian, or from Jupiter, whatever, they agree that citizenship to vote, voter ID, those are not controversial. Those are not radical. 85% of Americans are for it. And when we have to fight this hard to get a piece of legislation onto the president's desk that has 85% support, what does that tell you about these people in our government? It tells you that they are absolutely bought and owned by their special interest groups who don't want to see this passed. And those are the groups that want cheap labor, right? Those are the open borders groups. It's insanity. Those are also the Democrats who want a voting bloc. They have a new voting bloc already here that they want to make sure gets to pull that lever for them. So it's a lot. But what's going to happen?
Susan Collins voted for this procedural vote. That was shocking too.
Well, I think Susan Collins will probably vote yes. Now,
No, you think
I
so?
think she will. Yeah, I think she probably
Why?
will, because she's in a purple state. And I think
She's a horrible
Jack, I could
person.
talk about this for the whole hour. I I really could.
We won't, people. I can promise you we won't.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not promising anything. Anyway, what I'm saying about this is it's such a, as I said, everybody wants it. And
Mhm.
now that McConnell's put himself, the procedural vote, I'll let it go forward. Now Mitch McConnell's, and I think a lot of them, here's the other thing, Jack, a lot of them know that this won't get 60 votes. So you'll also have Republicans who will say, yeah, I'm all for it. I'm in it, rah, rah. They know it's not going to get 60 votes. That's why we have to force them into the talking filibuster.
Yes, and you need
sure.
to keep it going.
That's it.
No matter what.
This can't die. And make these people stand up and look you in the face on the Senate floor and tell you why they're against only American citizens voting and having to have voter ID to vote, where every other civilized country, for the most part, every other quote unquote democracy, I hate that word, we're not a democracy, but every other democracy, major democracy in the world, has voter ID and only citizens can vote. Why are you against this? Well, there's no voter fraud. Well, then you have nothing to worry about. Now this is just an extra safeguard, because if you didn't really worry about it, what are you against it for? Oh, it's going to disenfranchise people. That's a lie. We know that's a lie. It's just like when they said black people can't get ID. It's the low expectations, the soft bigotry of low expectations. That is the racist thing. We are sick of it. We're being lied to. It is not going to disenfranchise people. Everybody knows what their birth certificate is. Everybody has a passport. They know where it is. And Jack, here's the funniest part. And
It's just not going to pass. I mean, I'm sorry.
It has to, Jack. It has to. I'm not going to let this die. I won't let this die.
Do I want it to pass? Of course. But there is no way in hell the Democrats would rather the Republicans filibuster till the end of time before they allow. You don't understand. They cannot allow this to pass. It's not that they don't want to. They can't, Jay. They cannot. And do you think that people are going to say, hey, yes, I'm going to put the betterment of the American people in front of my own wants and needs? No, they are not going to do that. If that passes, half of the Democrats will immediately lose their jobs. They're not going to do that, Jay. And I'm sorry. Believe me, I want it to pass, and I hope you continue to call Thune and all this, but it's not going to happen. I'm just telling you the truth. It's not going to happen.
I'm going to hold out hope until it's dead and dead as a doornail.
Until I want it to pass. Don't get me wrong.
I know you do.
I would love the SAVE Act. That would actually cure half of America's problems right there.
I know.
But it's not going to happen.
I'm gonna hold out hope until, as I said, it's dead as a doornail. And even when it's dead as a doornail, I might still be calling these people, because this is, again, without this, all the other stuff we're really talking about, what does it really mean if we know we don't have fair elections here? We've
never had fair elections. That's the thing. We've never had them.
But every time we have a presidential or this takes care of federal elections, right? Every time there's a federal election, whether it's for the House, whether it's for the Senate, whether it's for the president, we're always saying, wait a minute, how do we know there's cheating? No, I don't want to even have to think about that. There's dead people on voter rolls, that voter ID wasn't used, that illegal immigrants are voting. I don't even want to think about that. We shouldn't have to think about that. It is egregious that we even have to worry about this.
It's angering, though, that the politicians, it's gotten to the point in America where politicians no longer represent the people who vote them in. They don't care. I mean, this is an issue that is literally an 80-20 issue across every demographic, but they don't care because they know, and this is the problem. They know that if this gets instituted, half of them will lose their jobs, Jay. Most of the Democrats were elected via cheating, via some kind of, cheating, whatever it is, whether it's mail-in ballots, whether it's, illegals voting, whether it's dead voter rolls, whatever it is. They know that this will take not only their job, but it will take down half of the Democrats. They can't allow it to happen, Jay. It's not, believe me, I want it to happen. The politicians no longer represent America. This could actually get politicians back to where they represent America, because then you know what this would do, Jay? And I'm going to tell you why they're not going to do it. This would put the power of the American government back in the hands of the American people. And they do not want the power of the government in the hands of the American people. They do not give up power. Power does not give up power, Jay. All power wants is more power. I can promise you right now, it will not pass. I want it to pass. I would love for it to pass. Are you kidding me? I am a Republican. I'm a Republican. I'm right side, but I want it to pass, but it's not going to. I'm just being realistic here. Just because like I said, power will never willingly give up power, Jay.
I hear you, and I don't disagree with you. I just can't let this go. And we can't let this go. We can't. When it's this, Jack, can you remember a time when we had an issue where 80 to 85% of the American citizenry electorate agreed on an issue? Can you remember a time? I can't.
Not off the top of my head, no.
I can't even, not even close. And I've said it, as I said, you can't even get 85%
passing it, despite us knowing that, tells you their priorities. It tells you that they don't want the power in the hands of the American people. They don't want the people controlling their own country. That should tell everybody that.
That's where I was going. I was going to say that is how absolutely ridiculous this is. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been a time where we've had an issue like this where so many people agree on it, whether they're Republican, Democrat, or independent, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we still have to go tooth and nail to battle these people who, as you said, are elected to represent us. They work for us. I like to call them now, Jack, they're public servants. Just like the police are public servants.
That is what they are, yeah.
That they're public servants. They're not elected officials. You're an elected servant, and you're there to serve me. I pay your salary, right? I had to hear that my whole career. I pay your salary. Okay, fine. We pay for everything for them. They're there to serve us, and these servants are ruling us. That's what's happened. These people go to serve. No, they go to rule. That's why they go. They're not going there for the right reason. And this shows it in plain English, clear as day, that they're not there for the right reason to serve you. They're there to rule you. When you have an 80% issue, 85% issue, and they are shoving it in your face, telling you, we just don't have the votes. We just don't have the math. Screw you.
But see,
screw you.
We can get the problem right here is that the American people don't realize their own power. Okay. They are very few and we are many. Let's say American adults. Let's say there's 200 million American adults in this country. There's maybe 535 people in all of Congress together. There's 200 million American adults. If the American adults, men and women, would start to band together to realize their own power, that is what the politicians are afraid of. That is why they don't want the SAVE Act to pass, because they know that if the Americans start to realize their own power, the money faucet would be shut off. The power faucet would be shut off. All these things would be shut off. They would realize if the American people got to control their own government again, the American people would find out how bad they're really being scammed, how much they're really. Did you know that $1 trillion per year is lost to fraud in federal programs? $1 trillion. People don't realize how much money that really is. $1 trillion per year. 50 cents of every tax dollar is stolen by a politician, stolen by a Somali in a wig, stolen by, an illegal in California. 50 cents of every tax dollar is stolen from you. And the American people, 200 million versus 535. The American people have all the power they'll ever need. They just don't exercise it. But if they wake up, if they start to realize this, we could literally control the entire government ourselves. That's why they cannot allow the SAVE Act to be, because the SAVE Act is the first step. The SAVE Act is the act that would give us back the power to run our own government. They can't allow us the power to run our own government, Jay. That's the whole point. And Deborah, am I going to vote in the midterms? Yes, I'm going to vote in the midterms. Even if I was told the elections are illegal, even if I told the election was going to be stolen, I'm still going to vote, because that is your constitutional, not right. I think it's your constitutional duty if you are an American citizen.
I also think you don't get to complain if you don't vote, because it's not a hard thing to do. Get your ass out there and vote. Here's the thing, and it's what you said, the power of the people. I think this has rattled their cage a little bit, because this SAVE Act was dead in the water. It wasn't going anywhere. The only thing that's gotten us to where we are today, Jack, where this is actually on the Senate floor, is the pressure that has been put on. Are the phone calls, is the onslaught from because it's a different world now. We have a platform like X where people can organize instantly. When you have a big influencer who goes, hey, SAVAC, let's do this, and people rally, right?
Yeah.
I think this has rattled their cage a little bit, because if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't even be on the floor right now today. So that's why I won't give up, because I think if we just keep pushing, maybe we have a chance. Maybe we don't. But if we don't keep pushing, if we don't keep fighting them on this issue that is 85%, that will help save this republic. If we don't keep pushing and then we just give up, then we only have to blame ourselves. At least if we know we fought to the bitter end, to the last dying day, then we could say we tried everything we could, and these scumbags still wouldn't go along with what we wanted to do, what we were begging them to do, what we elected them to do as our servants.
You just said what we were begging them to do. That's the problem. The American people don't realize their own power. We have way more power than Congress, but we beg them, we ask them, we plead with them rather than tell them. And that's the key right there. We don't tell them anything. We beg them to do stuff. They have the power right now. The SAVE Act puts the power back in the hands of the American people, and they don't want that, Jay. They can't have that. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. Are we going to fight for it? Sure. But they do not want it. Do they work for us, Deborah? Yes, they work for us. But see, the thing is, when we don't realize our own power, when we don't fight back, we actually work for them.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell everybody right now watching this program, listening to us. Call John Thune. Call your senators. Call your House reps, the House reps, and tell them you don't pass one piece of legislation that Senate sends to you until the SAVE Act passes. You call your senator and say, I will not stop calling until you get this over the finish line, whether it be 60 votes, whether it be you nuke the filibuster, or whether you do a talking filibuster to exhaust the Democrats. I don't care how you do it, but I will not leave you alone until you get this done. This is the one time where we will not take no for an answer. We just won't do it. So everybody watching, do not give up. Make those phone calls. I think John Thune's phone number, 202-224-2321. I think I have that right. I think I have it memorized, Jack. Call John Thune. He's the one who can make this happen. You know the power John Thune has as the majority leader. He can cut off funding money. He can cut off campaign money. He can make sure that a primary opponent to anyone that doesn't want to go along with this
if he really wanted it passed, he could get it done.
That's what I'm saying. So you make sure John Thune knows that we know what he can do. And there it is, 202-224-2321. That's John Thune's phone number. Call him up. You're going to get an answering machine. I know this, because I've called several times and left several messages. And you leave a message. You don't be angry. You don't be mean. You don't be disrespectful. You say to him, sir, you have the control here. We demand, we're not asking, we are demanding that you do the will of the people that voted not only for you, that voted for President Trump. Without President Trump, who wants this legislation passed, you wouldn't be in the majority, John Thune. You would probably be where you want to be, which is the controlled opposition minority, but you're not. You accepted this job. Get the job done. We are not going away.
All right. Let's go ahead and switch topics for a minute, Jay. I wanted to talk about the fact that I don't care if Lindsey Graham votes with Trump 100% of the time. I hate the guy. He's a snake. And I think it would be great if he were gone. And believe it or not, the polls are saying that the guy, his challenger in the Republican primary, has a good chance of forcing him to a runoff. Has a pretty good chance of forcing him to a runoff. His challenger, I forget who it is. I think it's like Lynch or something. But he's got a pretty good chance of forcing him to a runoff. So I think that's great. Anybody in South Carolina, I mean, Lynch is just as good as Thune and just as good as whatever the hell his name is, Lindsey Graham, in terms of voting. He would do the same thing. He's just MAGA, just like Lindsey is. The only difference is he's not a snake. He's not just a horrible, sick, warmonger person. I hate Lindsey Graham. He's one of the worst people in the world. And to have somebody be able to force him into a runoff, either A, that person would beat Lindsey Graham, and then we'd have somebody in there that isn't a snake but still votes with Trump, or B, Lindsey Graham might win just barely, but realize that he's teetering on the edge and that he's got to start, getting his shit together.
Lindsey Graham, that is going to be very difficult. If they can get him to a runoff, I think, yes. If that happens, they got a chance. It's going to be very difficult. As we know, he's got a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what they're projecting right now, though, actually, is that they're going to force a runoff.
Well, listen, it's let's hope that happens. I hope Lindsey Graham faces a serious challenge at this point. Lindsey Graham's been there too long.
There needs to be, term limits would solve most of our problems. Jay is frozen. He's been having internet issues lately.
Yeah, lately,
okay?
I think it's the story of my life, Jack. I think the internet
there you are.
Lately, internet issues are the story of my life. For whatever reason, I have a full thing on the bottom of my computer, everybody. I have Verizon Fios. It's absolutely outstanding, and I still can't hold a solid internet connection. I guess I got to pay a little more money, maybe a few more surcharges on my bill, whatever that means. Then they'll take it. Yeah, whatever. About Lindsey Graham? About Lindsey Graham. If he would be term limited out already, Jack, if there were term limits, he's already been there way too long. I think he just go for the sake of that. He's been there too long. Get somebody else in there. Get me a solid MAGA person who doesn't want to, fire missiles anytime somebody looks at them sideways. How about that? I'm for it.
Oh yeah, of course. That would be wonderful. I would love to be able to get him out of here. He's the reason for most of the wars, I'd say. He's even trying to get us to go into wars with other countries. I mean, it's insanity, the kind of stuff that he's talking about. He said, what did he say? Something about, man, I wish I had the video where he was saying that we should bomb somebody else recently. I can't find the video anyway. Oh, never mind. He didn't say that. He said, I'm going back to South Carolina and I'm going to ask them to send their sons and daughters over to the Middle East. When he said that, oh my God, he is the worst of the worst. He's a snake. If we could get somebody else in there that votes with Trump 99% of the time, but isn't Lindsey Graham, I'm all for it. I'd be all for it, Jay. It would be absolutely wonderful. But I want to ask you, between Venezuela and a Canadian province, let's say like Alberta or whatever it is, Vancouver, which would you prefer to be the 51st state?
I'd say Venezuela. It's much warmer.
Well, believe it or not, President Trump has floated Venezuela being the 51st state, but according to Polymarket, there is actually a 55% chance that a Canadian province is going to schedule a referendum to leave Canada and become the 51st state in America. And I think that that's probably going to happen. Not Canada as a whole, but a piece of Canada is going to leave Canada to join the United States. I think that's going to happen, yes.
Is that Alberta?
I don't know if it's Alberta. I don't know if it's the Vancouver area. I don't even know. It's probably Alberta if you want the truth. But I don't. It just says any Canadian province. The odds that any Canadian province will schedule a referendum to leave Canada this year and become the 51st state are over half, 55%, above half.
Yeah, I think there is a province. I think it is Alberta, and I think there's an active movement in that province to actually have a referendum on that. Absolutely, there is. I don't know if they're going to actually succeed in getting it to where it has any legitimate teeth to it if they do pass it, but it would be, even if it doesn't have teeth, just to have a province vote majority-wise to actually say, yeah, we want out of Canada and we'll become the 51st state. That itself would be unbelievable. If that ever happened, that would be like earth-shattering, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, just that happening would be incredible. So, Jay, there has been a lot of horrible things going on toward a lot of anti-white racism, a lot of anti-Christian stuff too. Okay. And it seems like Christianity is the thing that is most under attack all over the world. I mean, there's attacks on Catholics, there's attacks on Judaism, but it seems like Christianity is the number one universal thing that everybody not only attacks, but is allowed to attack, get away with attacking. But let me show you what they're doing in Sweden, Jay. Apparently right now, and this is true, the Swedish state is actually kidnapping children from Christian parents, Jay. That is true. And the horrible thing about this is the fact that what happened was apparently, and I'm just going to tell you what happened to this particular couple, but a Christian couple's years-long fight to regain custody of their daughters from the Swedish government was dealt a major setback last week after a top European court rejected their plea for help. Apparently what happened was a daughter, one of the daughters, Sarah, she was 11 years old, made a false abuse report at school following a fight with her parents over not being allowed to have a smartphone or wear makeup. You know, typical children parent, arguments, but she made some kind of false abuse report. The ADF said the girl quickly retracted the allegation, and prosecutors found no evidence of abuse. But listen to this. The state said that the family's habit of attending church 3 times a week and their parenting choices are evidence of religious extremism and justification for keeping their children permanently.
I don't even know what to say. It sounds like California. Sounds like something California would try to pull, because they're already trying to pull stuff like that.
Jay, they are persecuting you, stealing your children because you go to church 3 times a week. Because you go to church 3 times a week, and because you tell your daughter she can't use her smartphone at school, that is evidence of extremism, and we're going to steal your children. That is Swedish state-sponsored kidnapping.
100%. 100%.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do if they steal your kids, Jay? What are you going to do?
Oh, what am I? Oh, me. Well, in the United States, you know what I'm going to do. I'm very heavily a big Second Amendment person in this house, but
you're gonna kill the entire government.
Not the entire,
this is the country of Sweden. The
whole
country just took those kids.
Somebody's coming with me, but at the same time, Sweden. That's another one of those European democracies. Is that correct, Jack? Another
yeah.
one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Again, guys, this is happening over there. And what happens there eventually tries to make it way here. Would they do the same thing, Jack? Jack, would they do the same thing if somebody was taking their child to a mosque every 3 days or 3 times a week?
Oh, no. In fact, they would probably, make them a foster parent or something.
That's what I'm asking. See, would they do it if it wasn't Christian? See, it's okay to persecute Christians all over the world. That's the thing. It's okay to persecute Christians all over the world. We've seen it all over the place. We saw it. Iran actually is one of the biggest things that went on right before this conflict started, was the basic execution of Christians and protesters and whatever. But it never goes the other way. It never goes the other way.
Never.
And if it goes the other way, there'd be world outrage, Jack. This would be worldwide outrage if this went another direction. We know that.
No, but listen to this, Jay. Let me tell you how bad it has gotten. I want you to hear this, okay? The parents completed a state-mandated parenting courses and were later deemed fit to parent. But they said they are still going to keep their kids in foster care. And get this, they sent them to Romania. The kids.
This is like re-education camps. That's what I got to re-educate you of how we want you to raise your kid. Now, in our country, Jack, how many times you say to yourself, well, you don't have to have a license to be a parent. You don't, but we like kind of like it that way, don't we? Where we'll take it where, yes, there are horrible parents, but we would rather have, kind of like you said, you're not going to trade your freedom for security. I don't want to trade making sure people, quote unquote, know how to parent for, saying, okay, there's going to be some bad parents, but I still want to be free to parent my kid the way I want. I don't want that taken away because there's bad parents.
Yeah, it's just like free speech, Jay. You have to be able to tolerate hateful speech, angry speech, speech you don't like. See, the nice speech, just like good parenting, doesn't need to be protected. Speech that doesn't offend doesn't need protection. The protection is for the speech that offends. The protection is for the parents that you might think aren't doing things the way that you would do them. But that doesn't matter if they don't do things the way you would do them. Just like it doesn't matter if these people say things that you don't like. Those things should be protected. In Sweden, let me tell you, Jay, the UK, Europe is a barometer for America. Everything that happens in Europe, in the UK, will make its way to America. And people, if you think the Constitution is protecting you, think again. We had Eduardo Bitar on last Friday. He said that Venezuela has gone through 26 different constitutions. 26 different constitutions. It all depends on who's on the Supreme Court right now. It all depends on who the president is right now, who's in Congress right now. That could all those things could easily change. That could all change. So don't think that the Constitution is going to protect you. There should be God-given things that you cannot take away from people.
And that's another reason you got to get out and vote, because the Democrats will pack the Supreme Court with lunatics that would absolutely shred the Constitution. You know, this thing in Sweden, were there any laws broken by these parents? Doesn't sound like it. It just sounds like they didn't
No.
like that they were taking their kids to church.
They said, yeah, 3 times a week, and they wouldn't let their daughter use her smartphone or wear makeup.
So no laws were broken. That's the other thing. Now, if there were sick laws, well, that's laws that I guess the people of that country allowed to be voted in, to be put into place by legislation. This is not even what we're talking about here. This is just the government saying, no, we don't like that. You didn't, you're not taking you're taking your kid to church, Christian church, right? And you're not letting them be on a computer. What the hell are you talking about? That's tyrannical. That's Germany of the 1930s.
I just don't see how that's. It's angering. I just don't see how that is possible in today's day and age. It just shows you that no matter what millennium you're in, no matter how far advanced you think you are, humans are always going to be humans. They are going to do the dirty and grimy shit. I don't care how advanced you think you are. I don't care if you think that you're in the United States and your military would never fire upon you. Let me promise you that if something happened where a government said, okay, we're going to send the National Guard in to fire upon you, they will. They will. Now, I will tell you that, don't get me wrong, some of them will quit, some of them will leave, but the people that are left over will fire on you. So I'm telling you that just because it's 2026 doesn't mean we're any more mentally advanced than we were 2,000 years ago.
That's why you can't give up your God-given rights that are in the Bill of Rights. You cannot ever, ever let those get taken away by this government. Freedom of speech, Second Amendment, number 1, number 2. 2 most important ones right there. When number 1 doesn't work, you got number 2. And there was a big debate, Jack, when these country was being founded, of which one of those should be first. A lot of people thought it was the Second Amendment, that the right to bear arms should have been the First Amendment. So that's how important they believed it was, that it was a debate as to which one should be first, speech or right to bear arms.
I think they got it right. I think they got it right.
I think so. I think so. It's worked so far. But just think about that. These other countries that don't have that, look what happens to them so easily. That the government, and as I said, we have states' rights here too, as per the 10th Amendment, and we have states like California that tend to try to really take advantage of stuff like that. When we have situations where kids are getting taken out of their home by the government in California because the parents aren't allowing those kids to transition and alter their lives forever. That's insane. But that stuff's going on, and it makes its way into places like California. It's already here, guys. It's here. And when you have people like Wilson in Seattle, Mamdani in New York, and it's spreading, and you better be aware of it. And that's why we say you better get your ass out and vote. I'm sorry. I don't care if not everything's going your way right now. The alternative is just not tenable. And I know that sucks to hear. It does. But it's just reality. We've been talking about reality a lot today. That's the reality. The reality is the other side, the alternative is not tenable. It's not something you want to live under. Trust me.
That's what people do.
Frustrated as you might be right now.
No, you're right. And that's why people have to vote, because of the alternative. See, people, I don't care if you think gas prices are too high. I don't care if you don't like the war in Iran. I don't care if you think this cost of living is too high. Imagine what it would be like if Kamala Harris were president right now. These things, you think that they would be better? Would these things have gone down? You think gas prices would go down? You think the Iran war would not have happened? You think that cost of living would go down? Do you think you'd have more freedoms? I mean, if you were to not vote, it is just as bad as voting for the Democrats. So you've got to vote because, like I've said many times, Donald Trump, just by getting elected, even if he did nothing the entire 4 years, just by getting elected, he saved America. America was on a downward trend. The people that were being let in by the millions, it was untenable, unfeasible. It would eventually have broken us. Okay. We couldn't, and we would have still been going on. Imagine another year and a half of wide open borders. That's what would have happened had Donald Trump not been elected. So just by being elected, we won. We saved America. In 2026, just by electing Republicans, even if they don't do anything, and they're probably not going to do anything, but even if they don't do anything, it is 1,000 times better than having someone else go in there that will actively work to destroy everything you love.
Yeah, even if the Republicans don't do anything, it's better than what the Democrats will do. And they will do it fast because they don't wait. They don't wait. When they have power, they yield power. When Republicans have power, they cower. We know this. We know this. It's gotten better. We do have somebody that we voted for in the White House 3 times now. He got in twice. We voted for him 3 times and he won, but he's been there twice, who actually tries to wield power that the voters say, yes, we want you to do this. Closing the southern border, basically. Closing it. First time ever. We don't have gotaways running into our country. Anyone that's come across has been vetted and come across the right way. I would go a step further and shut down immigration completely for a while, but that's just me. But like Jack is saying, Donald Trump, just by getting elected, stopped. He paused. What would have happened to this country if Kamala Harris had been able to steal that election?
Paused is a good word. Paused. He did not stop it because it can't be stopped if we allow the people right back in.
Exactly. And when you talk about, say, you get frustrated with the Supreme Court, which I do, could you imagine another Ketanji Brown Jackson on that court? Guess what's going to be there if the Democrats take power and get the presidency again? Yeah. What do you think's going to be there? Another Ketanji Brown Jackson. In fact, they want to pack it with 15 more of them. That's what they want to do. You could kiss your Second Amendment goodbye. You could kiss your First Amendment goodbye. All the stuff we do on these platforms like X, gone. If you're a conservative voice on X, get ready to pre-2022 on steroids. You will be booted off of that platform. Your voice will be gone. All this stuff we're doing with the SAVE Act right now, where we might have a fighting chance because of all the stuff we've been able to organize through that app alone, gone. So I get it. Frustrated. You might be frustrated, like Jack said, with the war. You might be frustrated that no one's been arrested yet that you want to see arrested. You might be frustrated that, yes, now when gas prices went down, right now, because of this conflict, they're going up a little bit. All that's valid. You guys can complain about that. You can have an issue with it. But you've got to put it aside when it comes down to voting. You have to. I'm sorry, you got to swallow hard sometimes. You got to kind of put it aside and say, I got to look at the long run. I got to look at the bigger picture. And that's what we're coming down to. And it's coming up fast now. We're a few months out. It's coming.
It absolutely is. And we've got to vote. I mean, you just have to. And that's why we talk about it, every once in a while, because it's something that has to happen. I mean, otherwise, anyways, I'm going to switch to something that's good for us. Ben Stiller, the ultimate TDS person. He's one of the ultimate people with TDS. He actually just made his own line of sodas. It's called Stillera. Ben Stiller made his own line of sodas called Stillera. Guess what, Jay? He went to a grocery store to promote his soda, and not one person went up and said a word to him. This was beautiful. It's wonderful. I'm going to show you the video, and it makes you feel good because, you just got to, I love Ben Stiller's movies, but I hate Ben Stiller. So I'm going to show you. Just watch. Look at him yawning because nobody's talking to him.
To my surprise, this 100 stories high. People getting loose.
Look at that. Not a single person is coming up and talking to him. I love that. He was all by himself there pretty much the entire time, Jay. Not one person. There were people that were literally walking around, and no one looked at him or said a word to him.
Yeah, you could have had archery practice around Ben Stiller there, not worried about hitting anybody near him. I can't wait to not drink that soda, Jack. I can't wait to not have it. I love it.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely won't be touching that soda. I mean, it just, first of all, it's gross. Stillera. What the hell kind of name is that? And second of all, I'm not going to buy anything that has anything to do with Ben Stiller. Yeah. I like his movies, but that's it. As a person, he's shit. It is what it is these days.
Yeah. To me, he'll always be Gregory Fokker from Meet the Parents. There you
Yeah,
go.
Gregory Fokker was excellent, but so was something about Mary, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Love
good
that movie.
movies. No, good movies. And it's a shame that these people um absolutely ruin their just our enjoyment of their acting and their movies by opening their mouths about their politics, and not even opening their mouths about it. It's to the extent that they're absolutely out of their damn minds with
Yeah.
TDS, that it's just so twisted, just like, oh, I can't take it anymore.
It's a
Just go away.
shame that they are the way they are because the movies that they make are actually quite good. I mean, they're hilarious. I love it personally. That's my own personal opinion.
I love movies. I quote movies all the time. I mean, now I think the stuff coming out now, most of it sucks. I'm talking about stuff, that go back 10, 15 years and back further, the stuff that I love, but it is even musicians. It's the same thing with musicians. Just sing the song. Tell me about the process that went into making the song and how you wrote the song and what it's about. Can you do that? But no, they got to open their mouths.
I'm glad you did that because that reminded me of something. You remember Gene Simmons? He was another one of these people during COVID telling everybody to shut the F up. He was one of those people. But recently, he actually came out and said the same thing that we're talking about here. I'm trying to see if I can find it because I had it bookmarked. I want you to see this. He actually came out and said the same type of stuff that we are talking about right now. And that's why I'm trying to find it, but I don't know if I can. But anyways, these people they're just horrible people, Jay. And I don't understand why they lecture us when they've got, all this money and everything going on. They don't live the same lives that the average human being does, Jay.
That's what Gene Simmons was saying. I know the clip you're talking about, Gene Simmons of Kiss. Yeah. And he's been very outspoken, and he's been outspoken a lot more lately. This is the second time recently where he kind of went off a little bit. I think it was on a red carpet at some event where he kind of said, why are you even asking me that? Who cares? Nobody cares what I think. Well, why should you care what I think? I'm an entertainer. And I bring Elvis up all the time. Elvis's interview in 1972 at Madison Square Garden. You could go on YouTube and look it up. Elvis was saying this in 1972, saying, I'm an entertainer. I'd rather not answer that. It really doesn't matter. I just want to entertain. I'm not into that stuff. I don't want people to have any kind of opinion on it.
Hey, I found it, Jay. I found it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and play the Gene Simmons thing real quick. I want everybody to hear, what he has to say. Take a listen.
I know right now Ben Stiller is calling out the president saying he doesn't want him to use his movie clips for war propaganda. I mean, it sounds like a lot of people are kind of, criticizing Trump like Hollywood right now, over this war thing. Is that fair?
Yeah, because everybody in the world should listen what actors and comedians say because they're so qualified. Basically, shut the up. Do your art and shut up. Nobody's interested in your opinions. That includes me, who I vote for, who I like. Who the do you think you are? People in America work hard for their living, and they don't want to be lectured to by people who live in mansions and drive Rolls Royces.
Exactly. They work hard for a living, and they don't want to be lectured to by people that, are in mansions and drive Rolls Royces. He's 100% correct.
Absolutely. People that are above the pricing system, people that won't be affected no matter what policy goes in place, they'll be fine. They're not going to miss any vacations. They're not going to have to cut back on what they eat for dinner. It's steak dinner every night. It's lobster every night if they want it. It's anywhere they want to go. It's any car they want to drive. It's any house they want to live in. Exactly. Nobody wants to hear from you people. And here's the other thing, Jack. None of us really begrudge them the money they've made through capitalism and their talent.
No,
nobody.
But they hate capitalism. I don't get it. The very thing that allowed them to prosper is the very thing they want to tear down. It doesn't make any sense.
It's insane. It's insane. And are we too nice to say, hey, Ben Stiller, I'm good for you that you've made a lot of money through your movies. I happen to like them. Hey, if somebody's willing to pay money to watch you perform in a film, good job. You know why I always, Jack, and I was a cop, that 25 and a half years, you should make as much as an actor. I said, or a baseball player. I said, no, I shouldn't. No, why not? Your job is so important. I get that. I agree. But here's the thing. Nobody's paying $27 a ticket to come watch me write a summons. Mm-hmm. Okay. Nobody's paying money to watch me work. I'm paying money to watch Derek Jeter play baseball because I enjoy it and it entertains me and it gives me a thrill. It gives me a thrill to watch a movie and gives me joy and happiness, or it touches my emotions in some way. I'm willing to pay for that. Nobody's willing to pay a teacher to watch her teach in a classroom. They're not going to fill up a stadium, Jack. And I always said that. So why do I protect these people? I don't know. I guess because I'm principled and I believe in capitalism. No matter how stupid they are, I agree with their ability to make the money they make.
And you should be able to do that. That's why I don't understand why anybody is against capitalism. If you have talent, if you have ability, you should be able to use that ability and get what you want from it. If people are willing to pay you to do something that you have the talent to do, you should be allowed to do it. In communist societies, that is not the case. In communist societies, if whatever you're paid, 10 other people get a portion of it. Okay. In communist societies, you can't just rise up with your bootstraps. You have to have people that are already up in the know be able to bring you up with them. Otherwise, you'll never get up, despite whatever talent you may have. And people don't realize that, Jay. They think communism is this great thing where nobody goes hungry, everybody gets everything, everything's free, nobody has to work, and that money doesn't exist. This is what they believe. This is their vision of communism, when in fact, it's the exact opposite. You work like a mule, you own nothing, and one person tells you what to do for the rest of your life.
It's what the book Animal Farm. The original, not the one they're trying to put out now where somehow they turn capitalism into the boogeyman. No, the original book, Animal Farm. And you know what else, Jack? Meritocracy. Meritocracy. When you do something well, you get compensated for it. You get compensated to whatever the free market bears for that job. Like I said, being a police officer, whatever the free market will bear, whatever the free market will bear to be a teacher, whatever the free market will bear for you to be a plumber and go in and fix somebody's sink, whatever the free market bears for a scientist in a lab, that's what you get paid. Democrats hate meritocracy. They hate it. I think that's why they try to tear the NFL down with this communist movement with Kaepernick. Because is there any more of a meritocracy, Jack, than the NFL? Any more? Is there any bigger demonstration of meritocracy than NFL football?
For people that don't know, what does meritocracy mean? What are you saying? Tell everybody.
Well, it means you get what you get because you are doing it well, because it's based on your performance. It's based on how well you do something. It's not based on your skin color. It's not based on your gender. It's not based on any of that. It's based on, are you doing it well? Are you qualified? Can you do the job up to standard? That's what it is. That's what it is. And there's no bigger meritocracy or display of it than NFL football, where if you can't do it, no matter how much money they're paying you, if you stop performing, they will take you off that field. And that'll be the last time you get paid that amount of money. It doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady. It doesn't matter who you are. Once you can stop performing at that level, you're done. That's it. They hate that, Jack. They hate it. They want it to be based on everything but content of character, like Martin Luther King said. They want it based on none of that. They want it based on skin color, on gender. They want it based on whether you're gay, whether you're not. No, that's not how we do things in this country, and it never ever will be, because the day it does, it's over. We're finished.
Oh yeah, they want it to be based on what you were born with. You know, the attributes that you cannot change, the attributes that you cannot work to get better at, the attributes that you are born with. They want you to be defined by that, and they want you to get paid by that. They want you to get what you get in society based on that. I mean, I don't understand. That is the opposite of a free society. This is what they want. It doesn't make any sense.
Correct. And Cajun lady said, what's meritocracy? It's the complete opposite of DEI. That's basically what it is.
And that's the way things were for a while, but now it's no longer a meritocracy, and it's more like a participation trophy-ocracy.
Yeah, that started around the Obama era too, a little before that. I'm a little older than you. When I was a kid, if you didn't come and say third place in your soccer league, third place where the trophies ended. And the third place trophy was like this. The second place trophy was like that.
Yeah.
The first place trophy was this nice big trophy that you would have been, oh my God, I want that. I want to put that in my room. Hey, you got to win. You want that? You win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. We're about getting ready to go. So I just want to say, everybody, make sure you follow us. X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, TikTok. We are all Secret America TV. Be sure to follow us, subscribe, like, follow, repost. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the word about everything as much as we can, but, we can't do it without you. So we appreciate each and every one of you that listen to the show, watch it each and every day. We really appreciate you. Please be sure to subscribe and follow X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, TikTok, also Spotify and Apple. And we're on the Live from America TV network, rumble.com/LFA TV, where we're live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Jay, I really appreciated doing the show with you. It's always a pleasure, brother. So for Jay Gatling, I am Jack Danger, and thank you for watching Secret America.
You've been listening to Secret America.